In the early 1930s, Carl Tanzler was a man living a life defined by intense, secret delusions. He worked as a radiologist at a government marine hospital in the humid, tropical environment of Key West, Florida. He was a quiet man who rarely spoke to his colleagues about his past or his inner thoughts. Deep inside his mind, he was haunted by a vision of a long-lost ancestor who he believed was his true soulmate. One morning, a beautiful young woman named Elena Hoyos walked through the hospital doors seeking help. She was suffering from the advanced stages of tuberculosis, a disease that was a death sentence in those days. The moment Tanzler laid eyes on her, he felt a sudden, electric recognition. He became instantly convinced that Elena was the exact woman from his recurring visions. His professional duty to heal her was quickly replaced by a dark, possessive fixation. He showered her with expensive gifts, jewelry, and his own money, trying desperately to win her love. He tried every medical treatment he could find, regardless of how experimental or dangerous it was. But the disease was too far advanced for him or anyone else to stop. Elena Hoyos eventually passed away, leaving Tanzler in a state of absolute shattering emotional collapse. He didn't just grieve, he began to lose his grip on reality entirely. He paid for her funeral and commissioned a massive custom-built stone mausoleum. For 2 years, he visited the tomb every single night under the cover of darkness. He sat on the cold stone floor, whispering to the dead body inside as if she were still breathing. He claimed that her spirit spoke to him, pleading with him to take her away from the lonely tomb. The voices told him that he was the only one who could truly protect her. He finally convinced himself that he had a divine right to liberate her from the stone vault. One moonless night, he took a secret key and a wheelbarrow to the graveyard. He worked for hours in the dark, sweating and shaking as he broke into the mausoleum. He hauled the decomposing body of Elena Hoyos out of the stone crypt. He carefully loaded her remains into the wheelbarrow, hiding her with a large, heavy cloth. He navigated the quiet streets of Key West without being seen by a single soul. He brought the body into his own house, treating it with a strange, clinical reverence. The house began to fill with the unbearable, sickly sweet smell of decay. He refused to accept the reality of the rot that was consuming her. The skin was sloughing off her bones, but Tanzler saw only his beloved countess. He used lengths of heavy piano wire to fasten her skeleton back together. He meticulously applied layers of wax and plaster to her face to recreate the appearance of her skin. He sourced custom glass eyes from medical suppliers to replace her empty, hollow sockets. He used silk, lace, and gorgeous fabrics to cover the decaying body in expensive dresses. He spent his entire savings on endless bottles of perfume to try and drown out the stench. He lived with the body in his bed for 7 years, speaking to it every single morning. He would brush her hair, apply makeup to her wax-covered face, and even dance with her in the dark. The local neighbors began to suspect something was wrong when they saw him buying women's clothing. Her sister became suspicious and finally broke into his house to confront him. She found the horrifying, preserved remains of her sister lying in his bed, dressed in a gown. She ran into the street screaming, calling for the police to come immediately. When the police arrived, they found the gruesome reality of what he had done. He was arrested, but the trial became a bizarre spectacle for the whole nation. Because the statute of limitations had passed, he could not be punished for the grave robbery. He was a free man, but he was forever known as the monster of Key West. He spent the rest of his life alone, living with a wax effigy of the woman he destroyed. His story is a reminder of the terrifying power of unchecked human obsession. We look back at this as a warning of how far grief can warp a fragile mind. It remains one of the most disturbing, macabre, and truly unbelievable cases in all of history. It is the story of a man who loved something so much that he couldn't let it be dead. Did you know about the man who lived with a corpse for 7 years? It is a reality that is almost too dark to actually believe. Let me know what you think of this tragic, twisted story in the comments.